What's up, guys? So, today we're going to be talking about Big Ten football. So, the University of Michigan and the Big Ten went back on their August 11th decision to postpone the fall football season and actually come back starting October 23rd and 24th to play football this year. So, if you guys didn't know, the Big Ten decided that due to the coronavirus pandemic that they weren't going to be playing football as of the time because of the worsening situation of the virus, especially with some of the spikes that were going on across the country due to people being out more in the summer and not following mask protocols and CDC protocols and just disobeying restrictions put in place by some of the health officials. So the Big Ten decided that they were going to postpone. When they said that they're going to postpone, it was met with a lot of criticism and a lot of backlash from football guys and people who just felt like, oh, we should be going back to play and that they should let the boys play. They need football for their development, and due to the times, everyone needs to go out and play. And the presidents, in my opinion, rightfully so, the majority of them said, no, we're not going to play because of the situation that's occurring. And we don't feel like we have enough information. So that was back in August. Even Kevin Warren of the Big Ten, he's the commissioner, I believe, for the Big Ten, said that doctors raised serious medical concerns ranging from testing, not having enough testing, to contact tracing, and even to potential cardiac issues, which is not something you want to see with something like this that's just so unknown about it, and with the amount of people that have died as a result of this virus. So they decided that they weren't going to go based on the information that they had. And within the course of just a little bit over a month, they were able to get from just 3 presidents and chancellors denying the vote to getting the 60% majority that they needed, including Mark Schlissel, the president of the University of Michigan, to vote yes on returning to the football season. And it's very interesting to know that because this portion here talks about how Michigan State's Samuel Stanley, who had a medical degree from Harvard, and Michigan President Mark Schlissel, who earned his PhD from Johns Hopkins with a background in bioscience and immunology, how do you say that word, carried the day as Big Ten presidents met. And going to the University of Michigan, that's something you want to see. You want to see that you are the ones leading and being the best and making the correct decisions that need to be made. And President Schlissel was at the forefront of making the initial decision to postpone. But after the fact, he decided that he's not going to postpone and continue the season, even with the virus raging on and still taking lives of Americans. Still over, last time I checked, 1,000 Americans per day are dying from something, in my opinion, that I feel could have been very, very preventable, a lot of deaths that occurred. And now we're going to go out here and send out the football players to go out and play because they felt that they wanted to play, even though, in my opinion, the coaches, the staff, the players of the Big Ten don't have any say, and nor should they have any say in wanting to play. They're not going to be liable when things go wrong, if things go wrong, God forbid. And they really shouldn't have a say on a matter so serious. Their jurisdiction is to go out and play. Their jurisdiction is not to go out and force people to be like, we want to play. It's like when there's unprecedented circumstances, you have people, presidents and chancellors, to make the decision to go out and play. And unfortunately, it seems like they succumbed to the pressure mounting from the circles and the football circles, and they said that they wanted to go out and play the football season. And it's just shocking to see, but it also makes sense, We are in a situation that we've never seen in our country before, and right now we are seeing a very big economic downturn. And at the forefront of the situation is money. Like, money is what drives everything. Money is what makes the world go round. And without the money, without the flow coming in, there's going to be problems, which is sad to say because I feel like money shouldn't run the world the way it does, but it does. And especially when it comes to football and funding other sports, that is a key element. And it was looking like for the Big Ten, about $700 million in projected revenue were going to be at stake. Michigan and Wisconsin themselves, 100 million, 122 million Michigan State that they made in revenue, I think, last year. And something like that's going to be in stake. But you look at it and you're like, $100 million, like, yeah, that's a lot of money. But then you go ahead and look at the endowment for Michigan, $12.44 billion with a B, talking Bezos B. And then we're talking $3.12 billion for Wisconsin. So where is that endowment money going if they can't be covering the potential loss of a football season for 1 year? So 1 year you can't not have it with an unprecedented circumstances, and everything just goes crazy. Like, it's sad to see that money is what's driving this, and it's sad to say because it doesn't seem like the care and the thought is there for regular students. We had the grad student protest, we had the resident staff protest at the University of Michigan recently, because they felt like they weren't getting the proper equipment and the proper protocols to be safe in doing their task on campus currently. And they had protests, and the protests were effectively forced to be shut down by the powers at B, heading from President Schlissel, because they had they couldn't strike in their contract, which is crazy to think. That's literally going against the First Amendment, the right to protest, and putting it in their contract that they can't protest when they're not getting the proper things they need to do their job. Like, it's a sad situation to see and something you don't want to see at our school, but unfortunately that's what we see. And it's just sad to see that even when you look at the testing numbers that we're doing here at the University of Michigan in particular, like, it's sad. We got outbreaks going on in South Quad and West Quad, testing that they're trying to do 3,000 per day. It's crazy to see how, if you look at this, what I'm looking at here, the amount of tests that they have done in the past, 3 weeks. So it looks like just above 2,000, about 3,000, and about 136 this week. That's not fully updated, but they're only doing that amount of testing for a student body of 30,000 students. And who knows how many more grad students, how many more staff. So that could be anywhere around 45 to 50,000 people who are involved in the University of Michigan who aren't getting continuing testing. Oh, but we want to go ahead and play football, so we're going to give those guys daily tests every single day. Every single day we're going to get football players, coaches, and staff daily tests, but we're not going to do that for our students because the people who make money for us are the football players who don't even get paid for their work. They're the ones who make money for us, not the students. Not the students who go out and get the education, who we make pay $60,000 out of state every year and raise tuition during a pandemic. Those aren't the kids that we're worried about. We're worried about the football players making the money for us, and then those kids paying to not have the actual education that they need because everything's online, them not getting the proper testing. That's what they care about. And if you go ahead and look at the University of Illinois has done a great job of testing. Even before, in the middle of August, they're having 15,000. They've had days of 15,000 plus testing days, and we haven't even been able to get anything close to that. And that's the University of Illinois, obviously still a very good university, but one of the leaders of the best, and another Big Ten school is outdoing you by almost fivefold. It just goes to show that Michigan has not done what they needed to do. And unfortunately, with this situation, it just seems like it's always like this when it comes to things like this. There's always going to be a preference for a hierarchy of things that need to be done. And the hierarchy says, okay, what can we do to make sure that we get football because they're the ones who make us money? Even if that means that those tests that we could be administering to all our students, no, we're going to save them for the football players because they make our money, and we're going to not give those tests to the students. And instead of making sure that they get them, we're going to give them to the football players because they're the ones who make money and not the kids who are just trying to come here for a degree, even though that is the whole purpose of college. But we all know at this point, college is a money-making business at the end of the day. Colleges are in it to make the money. Second, teaching, giving you an education and degree comes secondary at this point. That's the way it's worked with the way capitalism and things go on. It's the way things work, and it's unfortunate. But yeah, I just think that University of Michigan, and the Big Ten has colossally messed up in their handling of bringing back football. They went from postponing, which I thought was a great decision that they made, to postpone because of just the unknowing of what the COVID could be doing to people and just not having enough testing. And now that they claim that they went from a month to now having more testing, but those same unknown circumstances that could arise from contracting COVID could still occur, and they're going to go ahead with the decision to go ahead and play football. I believe it's not a decision that I would make in that position, but obviously I'm just a guy on YouTube, and I'm just disappointed in the way President Schlissel has handled his role in this, especially being someone who people look up to, even among the presidents and chancellors in the Big Ten, how he's folded and succumbed to the pressure and ultimately went with the decision to have us go ahead and have a football season, even amongst a pandemic that is taking thousands of lives a day and has not been in control. And there's continuing to be people who are neglecting and not following mask and CDC and health official protocols. But when it comes to money and it comes to football in America, it's always going to win, and lives and the rationale and the things that actually matter, like getting education for students and making sure it's safe for them and they have an environment to succeed, comes secondary. So it's good to know it's good to know where you stand as a student at the University of Michigan, and if you didn't know before this, you definitely know where you are now. University of Michigan is in it to get the money from you first, and then maybe you can go ahead and get a education, but they want your money first. And that's the reason we even came back on campus, hybrid form, even though they knew it was going to be mostly remote, just to get our money and vouch for that increase in tuition. The money comes first, the football comes first, and everything else comes second. Business first, education second. University of Michigan's made that pretty clear. President Schlissel's made that pretty clear in how he wanted to handle the decision to bring back the Big Ten. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Thanks for watching, and we will have another video very soon in the next coming days.